I hate planning, maybe because most plans fail as soon as they get started,
I don't really have a business plan. These things are just always wrong.
or perhaps that's just a sad attempt to justify why 98% of the population works harder than I do. Either way, I recognize that it was incredibly important to acquire the skill of measuring and improving my productivity if I was ever going to do anything with my life. The skill that I chose is called SCRUM. SCRUM was developed as a project management framework for software development teams, and it proved to be so effective that it was adopted by school teachers, construction companies, US military, and everything in between to manage teams and accelerate productivity. I use Scrum to break my goals into achievable tasks, which I assign a score and schedule in a 3-week cycle called a sprint. At the end of the sprint, I count my score, review my performance, and adjust the strategy to get more of the right things done. Planning in 1 to 4 week cycles called sprints allows Scrum users to adjust plans quickly, overcoming any obstacles and capitalizing on any opportunities that present themselves along the way. Reading one book on Scrum taught me more about managing a team than 4 years of business school. I'll show you how incorporating the basic principles of Scrum brought me from the laziest 2% of the population to someone who's mildly effective at getting things done. Before starting, you need a whiteboard, sticky notes, and a marker. Alternatively, you can use software, but I find that this is way too easy to ignore before you've built the habit, and a tangible board is right there in front of your face. Start by dividing your whiteboard into 4 columns: backlog, to-do, doing, and done. Backlog holds every task required to complete a project or achieve a goal. To-do holds every task that you will complete during your next sprint. Doing is everything that you're working on at the current moment, and done is where you put the tasks when they're complete. Take the sticky notes and write every high-level task that you need to finish in order to achieve a goal or complete a project. If you don't have any goals or projects, then just do a brain dump and write down every task that you want to achieve over the next 3 months or so, and make sure that you keep these high level. For example, my goal for the next 3 months is to examine the impacts of eating a meat-only carnivore diet. To achieve this goal, I need to measure my health, publish videos about my experience, and earn money so that I don't go bankrupt. Each one of these will have individual tasks that I need to complete to accomplish the objective. I will undoubtedly miss some tasks and write others that are redundant so that I have multiple options of achieving the same objective. If there's any advice I can give you throughout this process is do a bad job. The system is self-improving and you'll get better as you go. When you've written all of your tasks, assign each one a score using numbers from the Fibonacci sequence. The more important, complex, and effort that's required to complete a task, the higher the score. For my project, blood tests are very important, not that complex, and require a moderate amount of effort. Overall, I'll give this task a 53. Don't put too much thought or effort into these scores because you'll be able to adjust them later. When all of your tasks are scored, add them to the backlog column of your Scrum board. Now you're ready to plan your first sprint. Schedule your tasks in 1 to 4 week sprints. My sprints are 3 weeks long, and I have a recurring calendar event which reminds me when the sprint is coming to an end so I can prepare to plan the next one. Start each sprint by reviewing your backlog and moving as many of the highest priority tasks that you think you can accomplish into the to-do column. Common theme of this video, don't worry if you overestimate. I will tell you how to get better at estimating when you get to step 5. I'll move all the tasks for my initial health tests into the to-do column because without completing these, I can't start the diet. I'll break any task larger than 34 points into smaller, more specific tasks because once a task is in a sprint plan, I'm much more confident that I'm actually going to do it. A good rule of thumb is that if you think a task is going to take more than 2 or 3 days, break it into smaller tasks. For example, to film the blood test, I need to find a doctor, schedule a date that works with everybody's calendar, write a script, create a shot list, write interview questions, and record the footage. Your total score is likely to change because you're getting more specific with what you need to do. You can do this during the backlog process, but you don't want to write 400 tickets to find out that 300 of them are no longer relevant, which will inevitably happen. When all of your tasks are moved from the backlog into the to-do column, you can write additional tasks for anything else that you need to achieve this sprint. Congratulations, you just finished planning your first sprint. Review the to-do column and move any tasks that you're currently working on into doing and start sprinting to done. Whenever you complete a task in the doing column, move it to done. At the end of every workday, review the tasks remaining in the doing column. If there's any remaining completed tasks, move them into the done column. If there's any tasks that are blocked by something else, make a note and move it back into the to-do column. Next, review your to-do column and move any of your highest priority tasks for tomorrow into the doing column. You should never have more than 3 to 5 tasks that you're doing at a single time. Less is more. As you discover new tasks throughout the sprint, add them to your backlog where you can review them and schedule them for upcoming sprints. If the tasks need to get done now, add them to the current sprint and move any tasks that are less urgent and of equivalent value into the backlog. At the end of the current sprint, the same day that you scheduled your next sprint plan, count the total score in the done column and save it somewhere that you can find later. Next, you'll perform a sprint review called a retrospective, where you ask yourself 3 questions. 1. On a scale of 1 to 5, how do I feel about my performance this sprint? For example, I'm recording this video the same day that I finished the second sprint of my diet. I'm feeling pretty good about my performance because I haven't cheated on this diet even one time, but I would like some more variety in the foods that I'm eating, so I'm making a task to get a wider variety of meats next sprint. Question number 2. On a scale of 1 to 5, how do I feel about the project or strategy overall? This question helps you learn what's going right and what's going wrong so you can make the appropriate adjustments to your strategy. For example, in the middle of this sprint, a global pandemic ended up shutting down all non-essential businesses, so 80% of what I wanted to do in my backlog is no longer possible. Instead, I'm returning to the strategy, making some adjustments, and recording new video content, including the one that you're watching right now. Question number 3. What one thing is going to make me happier next sprint? This is called your Kaizen and is your number 1 priority next sprint. For my current project, I'm testing how a carnivore diet affects my strength and muscle mass. Since all the gyms are shut down, my Kaizen is to find an alternative workout program that I can implement during quarantine. Unforeseen obstacles require changes to your plans. That is the value in sprints. You can adapt quickly and move forward. When you finish the retrospective, return to step 2. Update your backlog, sprint plan, and repeat process. Use your current sprint score to more accurately estimate how much you can get done in the next sprint. The better you get, the faster you'll go. When you finish your second sprint, divide that score by the score you achieved in your first sprint, and the difference is called your velocity. If you multiply your current score by your velocity, you can get an even better estimate of what you're going to be able to accomplish in the following sprint. Even if you have a negative velocity one sprint, always overshoot on how much you can get done so you have a positive target to work towards. This is the level 1 Scrum process that I started following 27 sprints ago. There's a concept in Japanese martial arts called shuhari. Learn the rules before bending them and breaking them. Learn the basic Scrum system before customizing it for your goals. Starting with too much at once will cause most people to fail. The more sprints you perform, the higher your Scrum skill will climb, and the better you'll get at adjusting it to your goals. I am in the HA stage where I've been manipulating some of the Scrum conventions, testing add-ons, and tailoring it to my preferences. Before implementing Scrum, I created a vision for my life, a strategy for pursuing this vision, a system of habits that would automate productive behaviors, and a group of control metrics that would help me evaluate whether I was making the desired progress. These were all incredibly valuable for me, but I don't know if anybody else cares. So if you do, let me know in the comments and I can try to answer any of your questions. And if you want to see more of this type of content, then like this video and I'll know that if it gets, say, above 1,000 likes, then people want to see this and I'll continue making it for you. Until then, I don't even know if anybody finds any of this useful, so don't want to waste my time or yours. If you want to learn how I evaluated how lazy I am or how I created a vision for my life, I left links in the description below this video. And if you're interested in learning how different diets, workouts, and other practices that I implement in my life affect my productivity, then subscribe to this channel and follow the journey. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon.